In this video, we are going to be looking at this year's limited edition fashion designer version of Dia de Muertos Barbie that I bought from Mattel Creations. And this year, Barbie Signature collaborated with Mexican fashion designer Paola Wong. She is from the Mexican fashion design label Pink Magnolia. And I know I am incredibly lucky to be looking at this doll today because she sold out in minutes, really. I was on the Mattel Creations website as soon as she dropped, and I think I purchased her in under 2 minutes, and I got on the quick ship list apparently because she literally shipped that evening on the same day that I purchased her. So I'm very, very lucky to have got the doll and got her so quickly. So I will read the description on the back of her packaging. It says, Barbie unites with Pink Magnolia, Mexico fashion designer Paola Wong for a Dia de Muertos collaboration that celebrates the festive holiday in both brands' iconic color. Barbie dazzles in head-to-toe pink. Her two-tiered tulle gown is adorned with embroidered hearts and sugar skull details, and a heart-shaped cutout outlined with faux pearls. A matching pink headband with gold-colored leaf accents is the crowning touch. During this time of remembrance, honoring family and friends, let the love be with you. I will say that as soon as I saw this doll, I knew that I had to have her because she is so beautiful, even just from the promotional images. This is a very unique take on Dia de Muertos Barbie because Javier Meabe in the past has kind of stuck to the same dark aesthetic for each one of the Dia de Muertos Barbies, except for the second edition. The second edition had a lighter theme to her, but the past few years it's been more darker, saturated colors, and this is a more light-hearted pastel approach to Dia de Muertos Barbie, which are both true to the holiday. The packaging design is very beautiful, but I will say one difference between this packaging and the packaging that we've seen on past Dia de Muertos Barbies is that this one kind of lacks the embossing on the front of it, where like the images are raised off of the box a little bit, but the stock image of the doll on the front, the hand-painted prototype, is more glossy than the matte background, so I think that still looks cool. I have really had to restrain myself from opening her up prior to this video because I really wanted to look at her. I'm so afraid of wonk-eye when ordering from Mattel Creations. I really wish that these dolls were available in some retailers so that us collectors that are worried about that kind of stuff can actually check before we buy them. But unfortunately, she isn't. Though I think with the Calavera makeup, it kind of makes Wonk-eye a little bit less noticeable if she has it. So, moment of truth. This is a thick box. Oh, okay. You know, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. The eyes seem to be painted a little bit higher than the sculpt, but she's still beautiful. So just to give you a look at her displayed in the packaging before I take her out, and I will be taking her out of her packaging, I really, really love the interior box design as well. So the back of the box behind the doll has this very beautiful floral frame with some sugar skull detail going around it. And behind her, you can see a very blurry image of an ofrenda with some candles and also some marigold flowers. And the sides of the box, you can see it's got like sort of this bokeh effect. It's very beautiful, but it's not so busy that it takes away from the doll. I feel like they left it like a plain pink color for the most part back here so that the doll is the main attraction. And so here is 2023's Pink Magnolia Dia de Muertos Barbie straight out of her packaging. And if it wasn't already clear, she uses the Claudette head sculpt from the Harlem Theater collection. I've always secretly hoped that they would use this head sculpt for a Dia de Muertos Barbie because I think it's perfect with Claudette's signature sunken in cheekbones. It works really well with this Calavera makeup. And as I said earlier, unfortunately, mine's eyes are printed on a little bit higher than where they really should be on the sculpt, but I'm honestly just happy to have one of this doll, even though I wish I could have ordered three at the time, because unfortunately scalpers were tearing this release to shreds, and half of the people who wanted her unfortunately didn't. So I'm really, really sorry to everybody who wanted this doll and wasn't able to because of resellers. I really wish that Mattel honestly would have limited it to only one doll per account. And if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure that last year's Benito Santos Dia de Muertos Barbie was limited to one per person. But unfortunately, they allowed people to order three. So they did order three to resell on eBay for 5 times the price. But there might actually be a restock on this doll, and I definitely keep up with doll news accounts like a Plastic Tan on Instagram for that kind of information, because I know on the Pink Magnolia website they kind of hinted at a possible restock on this doll, and I really hope they do, because I might actually order another one of her because she is so beautiful. I really, really love this version of Dia de Muertos Barbie's screening. And I mentioned before, but this is actually the first Dia de Muertos Barbie with eyebrows. Like, none of the other Dia de Muertos Barbies have ever had painted on eyebrows. And I think that's because usually when in real life you do Calavera makeup for this holiday, the makeup is like almost black, so it covers up your dark eyebrows. But whenever Mattel has always done Dia de Muertos Barbie's screenings, they've always used this almost black gray color. They've never gone like straight up black for the circular skull eye holes. And I think that kind of looks weird a little bit some of the times, because it almost looks like the doll shaved off her eyebrows. But this time they did give her the darker eyebrows over the skull eye holes. And I personally really like that decision because, you know, even on her, the eye holes aren't painted straight up black. They're still gray. So it would look really weird if she didn't have eyebrows painted on as well, in my opinion. But I really love this screening, and not just for that. It's just all the little details in her face are just so beautiful. Claudette's lips, I feel like, also work really well for this makeup, and I love her dark brown eye color. She also has the very unique attribute in that she has pink hair. They've never done a Dia de Muertos Barbie with pink hair before, and this is really, really nice quality saran hair. Very, very beautiful shade of pink as well. And this is an interesting fact that I didn't know until a few days ago. But did you know that there is actually an official color that's called Mexican pink, or Rosada Mexicana? And to me, it looks like one shade off from Barbie pink. So that's a happy coincidence, isn't it? And like the box described, she also comes with this very, very beautiful headpiece. So they incorporated the marigolds into this design anyway, even though they're not the traditional yellow color. And, you know, they're usually yellow because at its heart, Dia de Muertos is a combination of traditional Mesoamerican, like Aztec traditions, and also Spanish Catholic beliefs. And the Aztecs believed that the marigolds, being like these yellow orbs, kind of represented little suns. So the marigolds would help souls return to the land of the living to visit their loved ones. That's why in Coco, there's like a whole bridge of marigolds, because they're such an important and integral symbol in this holiday. And they come in all kinds of different colors. Yellow or orangish yellow is the most common color, but they do come in other colors like pink and blue. And I like that they incorporated that into this design because honestly, I feel like if they had made them orange, it would have clashed a little bit with the rest of this outfit. But of course, because this was designed by an actual fashion designer, we don't have any of those clashing colors, thankfully, like we see a lot of times in regular Barbie products. Just saying. And on top of the marigolds, it has these little metallic gold leaves. And the earrings are also really adorable. They kind of remind me of something that in the United States you'd see from the Juicy Couture or Couture brand. They are these really chunky heart earrings. They're metallic gold, like the leaves, but they do have painted blue and pink hearts on the front. Very, very adorable. Now, the dress is so amazing. I really, really love all of the little details in this dress. So I'll start with the front. So it's this very beautiful satiny pink material. I will start out by saying that the design does not continue to the back, but that's fine. I mean, most people are going to be displaying this from the front, so I don't really need it to continue to the back. Personally, that's not personally something that I care about in this case. But look at all of this intricate little embroidery on the front, like the hearts and the sugar skull detail. They were very careful to not include any crosses or Santa Marias in this design. I think that's always been something kind of strange about Dia de Muertos Barbie, because it is a religious holiday, but Mattel is very careful not to incorporate any religious symbolism in the dolls, like anything that's too blatant. But you can see that that embroidery also follows into her translucent mesh puffy sleeves. It's got this really awesome embroidered heart with a sugar skull in the center on the sleeves. I think that's so, so cool. And they're tied at the bottom with this little gold ribbon bow. And they also have a long sheer tubes that go down into her hands. Very, very beautiful detail there. She also has a pink manicure, which you can kind of barely make out because it's so close to her skin tone. But also on the dress, it has this incredible pearl window on the front, and it's like you can see through it. You can see through this little window. It's got that like sort of tinsel mesh that's on the bottom part of the dress under the heart. That's so cute. And little details like that are what make her worth the price for me, because that is awesome. And we don't ever get detail like that normally in Barbie. Little details like this really makes you feel like they use like all of the budget in this design. And I appreciate that. She also has a sort of turtleneck on this dress that wraps around the neck. It does have plastic clasps at the back as well. But the bottom part of her dress is also very beautiful. Under it is the same satin texture as on the top part, but over it, it's got this super like nostalgic almost. This reminds me of Barbies that I've seen in like the 90s. This like tinsel mesh over the top. It's so beautiful. It's got so much shape to it. I really, really, really love it. It really adds to that like pastel theme that she has. She kind of reminds me of Cotton Candy a little bit with this color scheme and this see-through mesh. So beautiful. She is such a beautiful doll. Now, also, just in case you were curious, she is wearing some very basic pink pumps on underneath. So, you know, nothing crazy with the shoes, but it's okay. You barely see them whenever she's on display. So, something else that I wanted to talk about whenever I review this doll is that this is the first Dia de Muertos Barbie that I've reviewed on the channel. I have a lot of them. I haven't bought every single one of the Dia de Muertos Barbies because honestly, I've liked some of the designs more than others. I have bought every single one of the Ken Dia de Muertos dolls so far, because every year I'm like, is this going to be the last year that we get Ken? Is this going to be the last year that we get Ken? Because it just feels like, you know, Ken dolls honestly don't sell as well. So I'm like, I'm just always worried that we're not going to get both of them. And I love that Mattel is honoring this Latino tradition with this collection. But at the same time, part of me wonders, who are these dolls really made for? I mean, the simple answer to that is anybody who will buy them. But I know that coming from a Latino family of immigrants, I'm second generation. My family immigrated here to seek a better life. I mean, we've all heard the story before. The same thing can be said about most Latino immigrants because the living conditions in our home countries a lot of times aren't ideal. And if you come from a family like mine who have absolutely zero generational wealth and who might not immigrate here in the most legal of ways, you have kind of a limited number of jobs that you can take on in the United States. And I just cannot realistically imagine getting off of your shifts as a gardener or a construction worker and even thinking about buying a $100 Barbie doll. I mean, I can afford this because this is my life. This is my hobby, is being a doll collector. But the average Latino household, let's be honest, they're not going to have the kind of money to be spending $100 on a Barbie doll and not struggle. So, as much as I love Mattel making these collector Dia de Muertos Barbie dolls that honor Latino tradition, and they've all been beautiful, and I've loved every single one of them. And I'm not saying that Mattel should stop making them. I'm just saying that it might be nice to have a more affordable option that more actual average Latino households in and out of Latin America can actually afford. Because that's what Mattel does with the holiday Barbies. Like, you'll have the regular expensive holiday Barbie, and then you'll have a more budget release. Why can't we do the same thing with Dia de Muertos Barbie? Like, you can have a more affordable version of Dia de Muertos Barbie. Maybe she doesn't have all of the embroidered details or all the layers or all the accessories, but she's still in theme to the holiday, and it's still something that you can buy that won't break the bank. You can even make it more of a playline release, and this is something that I've always thought would be really fun for a Dia de Muertos Barbie, is if it had a color reveal aspect to it. Like, imagine a more budget-friendly Dia de Muertos Barbie that is more targeted towards Latino kids that have like a warm or cold removable calavera makeup on it. I think that is a really cool idea. Maybe even a whole wave of color reveal Barbie that's just Dia de Muertos themed, where they all have color change aspects in the face paint. I think that would be a really, really cool alternative to this more expensive adult collector release. And of course, it's not just Latinos buying this doll. I mean, I personally don't believe that you need to be Latino or have any indigenous Latin blood to celebrate this holiday or appreciate it or buy these dolls, of course. I think that anybody can, but I'm just saying that realistically, some stereotypes are based in truth. Let's be real. Most Latino households aren't going to be able to afford this thing. I just don't think so. I also don't personally believe that you need to be of a particular culture in order to design a cultural doll like this. As long as it's done out of respect and enough research is done, intent is really important. And, you know, in a modern age, a lot of people don't, you know, care about intent. But to me, it's something that I feel more people should take into consideration is intent. And I'm just saying that because every single one of the Dia de Muertos Barbies so far have all been designed by 𝙧𝙚𝙖𝙡𝙮. And as much as I love his work, I find myself liking releases like this, these fashion designer releases more, just because it's a fresh take. And I just feel like Mattel has a lot of great designers that could design really awesome Dia de Muertos Barbies, and I don't have to be Latino themselves as long as they do enough research, or they could get like outside independent designers to design a new doll each year if they really wanted to restrict the design of these dolls to solely being designed by Latinos. They could have other Latinos come in and give their own fresh takes on Dia de Muertos Barbie each year. Am I saying that because I'm a little bit bored with the same designer working on Dia de Muertos Barbie every single year? A little bit, because it's kind of sad that Mattel just has like one Latino designer that can work on Dia de Muertos Barbie. That's a little sad to me, especially being based in El Segundo in California. You can't hire more Latino people to work on this brand. That's in California, really, on the border of Mexico. Like, are you serious? Now, I also thought that it would be cool, because I didn't review her last year, if we also looked at last year's Benito Santos Dia de Muertos Barbie in this video, just so that we can compare how different the last two fashion designer Dia de Muertos Barbies have been. And I really, really love this doll whenever she released last year. Same story as this year. I was on the website. Look, I collected Funko Pops in the past, and I used to have to do this where like you have to like check out and order as fast as you absolutely can, because people will have bots set up that will sometimes beat you to these releases, and you just have to be really on it if you know that a release like this is gonna be prone to bots. And I think last year was a little easier just because I don't think that people knew that this doll was going to be reselling for so much after the fact. And if they did, they probably would have been a lot more aggressive with sniping her up. But I'm pretty sure that Mattel only limited to one per person last year. But as you can see, last year they used the Carl head sculpt for the Dia de Muertos fashion designer Barbie. I think that this is also a very beautiful interpretation of her. One thing I thought was cool about her is that she has brown hair, actually, where all the other Dia de Muertos Barbies in the past all had black hair. This release actually had brown hair and a lighter complexion than the other Dia de Muertos Barbies that Javier Meabe had designed in the past. I also thought that her screening was very beautiful. I really love that I got a relatively symmetrical screening last year. I saw some that were pretty bad. The Carl sculpt a lot of times is kind of prone to wonk. But she's also very beautiful. I loved her silver earrings with painted, well actually, nope. Those are not painted accents. So they're actually little gemstones placed in these silver plastic earrings. And I thought that her rose headpiece was also very beautiful. You can see that it's all glittery, sparkly. She's got a little ribbon tied through her hair. I thought that her hair looked a little bit like Pan de Muerto, a little bit, doesn't it? And her outfit is so cute. I love this little a suit dress that he has her in. It's got this cute little red bow tie on the front, these little gemstone details that are just, the gemstones are just continued all through this design. I love it. And the embroidery work is just absolutely insane. Like I think it's so cool because they look like tree branches, but at the same time, they kind of look like rib cages and bones. And he also, one unique thing about this design is, apart from the box packaging, there weren't any marigolds in this design at all. And that's kind of a problem that people had with the Rainbow High Dia de Muertos doll, where it kind of felt like the one marigold that they tacked on top of the box was like an afterthought, and that they didn't really know anything about the holiday. That, on top of the fact that we don't really know who designed the Rainbow High doll, I think that was part of the problem is that with this, we know that Benito Santos is a Mexican designer, and he made the conscious decision to use roses. For whichever reason, I don't know, maybe they are in honor of a loved one of his that really loved roses. Maybe. I don't know. You know, in retrospect, I feel like the Rainbow High doll wasn't really as bad as people made it out to be, personally, but the lack of marigolds combined with the dress shape kind of looked like a Spanish flamenco dresser, which part of me does think that that was a little bit of a silly thing to complain about, because like we said in the past over and over, Latino people are usually mixed and they have Spanish roots. So I don't think that it would be weird to see a Dia de Muertos dress with a sort of Spanish flair to it. Whenever the holiday really only exists as it does today because of the Spanish. But anyway, I said that because, you know, a lot of the design elements that were in that Rainbow High doll are also present in this. As in, she also does have that same mermaid dress silhouette that the Rainbow High doll had, and she does not use marigolds in the design. Also, she does have a matching silver ring on this finger that has a red gemstone on the front with red painted nails, a red belt around this undershirt. Now, this is not a long sleeve undershirt, it is short sleeve, but I really love this really cute ruffle going across the front. And the shoes on her are also really awesome. You wouldn't see this in the promo images, but she comes with these black pumps that are the same sculpt as the Paola Wong one, but they actually have a little ribbon tied to them that come up along the bottom part of her leg. It's really, really beautiful. I love that little detail, even though you wouldn't normally see it. So that was my review of this year's fashion designer Pink Magnolia Dia de Muertos Barbie designed by Paola Wong. Let me know, what did you think about this doll? Were you lucky enough to get her? I hope you were. I hope everybody that wanted her will eventually get her one day, especially if they have a restock. And if I find anything out about a restock on this doll, I will post it on my community tab. And also a brief review of the Benito Santos Barbie, in case anybody still hadn't seen her in person. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this content to help support my channel and the algorithm, and I'll see you all next one. Thank you so much. Bye.